Chassidus, a new mimer, a new discourse. A new discourse by the Frierdiker Rebbe. To show you a picture of the Frierdiker Rebbe, if this is your first time learning from the Frierdiker Rebbe, this is the 6th Chabad Rebbe. He is the father-in-law of our Rebbe, Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson. His name is Rabbi Yosef Yitzchak Schneerson. He's buried next to the Rebbe in Queens, New York, at the Ohel. And Rabbi Yosef Yitzchak Schneerson was the leader of world Jewry during World War II, from 1927 until 1950 when he passed away. And he really led the Jewish people through the harshest of times in communist Russia, when being Jewish was illegal, as well as in through the Holocaust, when being Jewish was just insane. And this discourse we're learning now is a discourse that was taught by the previous Rebbe in New York, in Brooklyn, New York. It's on page 367 in the books. It's called Yetzei Adam Lepaalo. A man goes out to his labor, to his work. V'lavidasi ad arev, to his labor, which should be done until evening. This is a verse from the book of Psalms, chapter 104. And what this is going to be explaining in the discourse is the meaning of the verse in the book of Psalms of King David. What is it talking about? Man goes out to work, to his labor, which should be done until evening. I mean, that sounds like King David is stating the utterly obvious, right? Man goes out to work, to his labor, which should be done until evening. I mean, what else are you supposed to be doing, Okay? Supposed to work until evening. It sounds just like an utterly unnecessary piece of information, which King David is immortalizing for us in the Bible. What's so special about the Bible? Comes Chassidus. Chassidus is the hidden part of Torah. That's what it is. Chassidus is the soul of Torah. Just like you have a body and a soul. You have the part that you see, the superficial. Your body and your soul is that which lies beneath the surface. Just like your relationships have an external and an internal component. Your phone has a hardware and a software component. Torah also has an external and an internal component. The external component of Torah is the revealed part. Is the part that you read, which seems easy to translate. But the depth behind that is what Chassidus shares with us. Now, in this Maimah we're going to learn today, and we're going to start today at least, it's a relatively lighter material. It's not as deep as we ventured in other discourses. If you remember, we're learning V'yodaita Moskova together, for example. We plumbed the depths of Havaya and Elikim, of understanding the different names of God, how Havaya refers to God's infinite and unlimited power, and Elokim is God's concealment, how God hides himself behind the veil of nature, of science, of mathematics, of logic. So when God has two modalities, we learned that God sometimes mostly operates in a way where he hides himself from us through the laws of nature. And sometimes, once in a while, God will intervene with a surgical strike, some miraculous miracle, the splitting of the Red Sea, the oil burning for 8 days, the 6-day war. That is the revelation of the name of Havaya. We're not going that deep in this discourse. In this discourse, it's going to be much more personal. In this discourse, we're going to talk about man's work. The previous Rebbe, the Frierdiker Rebbe, is going to open our eyes and lay it out for us as to what your job is. He's explaining that when King David tells us man goes out to his work, do you know what your job is? Oh, I'm a lawyer. I'm a hematologist of hematology oncology, right? Radiation oncology, right? That's how you make a living. But what's your work? Why are you here? It's quite amazing because Yosef of the Torah portion this week, the conclusion of the longest unbroken narrative in Torah, the story of Joseph, is remarkable in Joseph's approach to his own struggles and suffering. We're on page 367, in case you want to know. Joseph is sold as a slave by his own flesh and blood who try to kill him. He languishes in a prison. The only person that tries to give him any attention is the most abusive attention imaginable. It's his master's wife who tries to seduce him. Yet Joseph never complains. You know why? Because Joseph knows that I'm never displaced. I'm always dispatched. I'm never displaced. I'm always dispatched. Displaced would imply that I shouldn't be here right now. I was supposed to have purchased that house. I was supposed to have gotten that job. I was supposed to have won her heart in that relationship. And that's why we get angry, frustrated. Chassidus explains that's idolatry. It's idolatry to believe that somebody else had the power over you to take you away from your own destiny. That's an idolatrous approach to life. You don't believe in one God that controls every single detail of your life. To come in with an attitude of displacement, to say that I shouldn't be here. I should have had a better life, nicer house, a happier relationship, better kids, more money. Who knows, right? That is an idolatrous approach to life. The Joseph approach to life, the monotheistic approach to life, is that there's only one God, and He is Almighty. Hashem Echad, right? And therefore, wherever I am is exactly where I need to be, right? I'm never sold, says Joseph to his brothers. I wasn't sold. I was sent. That's what Joseph tells his brothers. Don't feel badly that you did this to me. You separated me from my family for, how many years was he away? From the age of 17 till 39, I think it was. 23 years? Yeah, I'm not doing the math right now, but yeah, okay. 23 years, sounds right.
But even though it was meant to be, Joseph told his brother, don't feel bad about that.
Mm-hmm.
How could you, I hear what you're saying, but how could I thought they should feel bad about what they did. I think.
I think you're right and Joseph is right, because it was right of Joseph to say it. But for them, they needed to do their own teshuvah. And like we've learned that anti-Semitism was preordained by God. We learned that Abraham was told by God at the covenant of the parts at the beginning of the Torah. Are you familiar with the Bible, Jack? I'm not sure how much background you have.
He said 8 years of Shiva.
You went to yeshiva for 8 years.
Kindergarten through 9th grade.
Baruch haba, welcome. Okay, all right. So I don't need to translate
That's a long
every word
time
for you.
ago at my age.
Okay, we'll bring it out. We'll bring it out in you. Good, fantastic. You come to the right place, my friends. I was trying to lower it down, but okay, I'll raise the bar. Fantastic. So you know the covenant of the parts, Bris Ben Abasarim?
No.
You don't know?
No, I don't.
Okay. Covenant of the parts is when Abraham is told by God that your children will languish in a foreign land. They'll be tortured for 400 years. He wasn't asking him if he wanted to do that. He was notifying him. God was giving him the memo. And then God says, like you correctly pointing out, Velvelazer, that even though this is preordained, nevertheless, the people that will torture them, they will be judged for their actions, held accountable for their actions. So I think you're both right, you and Joseph. Joseph is right in having the magnanimity to say, don't feel bad because I was never sold. I was sent. I'm not displaced. I'm dispatched, right? But for the brothers, they should do their own teshuvah to figure out, if they can't walk around like a peacock and say, I did nothing wrong because I'm God's agent. No, thank you.
It's good to be right once in a while. That's pretty good right now.
Velvelazer, can you imagine, my friend, living your life in this way? Can you imagine? Do you hold grudges against anybody?
Yes, sir.
More than one person?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I hate to say this to you, but it's idolatrous.
I'm adulterous.
Not adulterous. You said adulterous. Was that a Freudian slip?
I'm a closet case. I'm coming out.
Velvelezo, it's idolatrous to hold a grudge against anybody else. You got to be like Joseph. You got to be like Joseph. Can you imagine what a way to live your life? It's such a high standard. It's amazing, but at least we should be aware of it.
My son won't understand that.
Why?
He won't understand it.
Why? What is his issue?
No, his issue is he's holding a grudge against me.
Oh my gosh.
And tell him that it's adultery.
Oh my gosh. Your son holds a grudge against you.
Welcome.
He won't, and he studies a lot.
Learns Torah? Let me talk to his rabbi. I'm serious. Let me talk to his rabbi. I'll help you.
No,
I'll try to help you.
Chassidus has taught me not to hold a grudge because everyone's broken from day one. And so when I see people, friends of mine who don't really have a good relation with their kids or with this or that, I have a much better understanding of them. And I don't sit in judgment of them. I never really was very judgmental, but now I understand myself better why not to be judgmental.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's really beautiful. I just want to point out to you also, Jan, that do you resent the fact that your son feels that way about you? You resent the fact that your son feels that way about you? Of course you do.
Okay.
You're a human being.
Yeah.
I mean, of course.
Right.
But can you imagine to rise to the place of saying, nothing's my mistake. This is my problem is my mission. My problem is my assignment. It's not my problem. This is going to take some work. Do you know what I mean? I appreciate you sharing that with us in this intimate setting. But as we progress through this mimer, I hope that you'll feel a sense of being assigned to a mission. Each and every one of us is assigned to a mission. Our problems, whether they come from the International Monetary Fund, or if they come from Hamas and Hezbollah, or if they come from your neighbor next door or your own child, all of our problems were set up for us to fulfill our mission in this world. Now, that's a very interesting concept that we're introduced to in this discourse, that we actually have a mission in this world. It's a paradigm shift in how we think, because as Americans, we're raised to believe that work hard, make a lot of money in a capitalist society, and then you can retire and do whatever you want.
Question.
But what Chassidus is telling us, oh no, that's not the right approach. You can't do that, because you're not here just to hang around and have a good time. You're here on a mission, and just because you made some extra shekels, it's got no bearing on whether you're fulfilling your actual purpose upon this earth. And that is the brilliance of King David. In the opening words here of our discourse, Yetzei Adam Lepaalo. Man goes out to his work, to his labor, which should be done until evening. King David is crying out from the mountains. Don't forget that you're on assignment. You're on a mission. Imagine a soldier is sent deep behind enemy lines in Gaza. He sends, the Mista'arvim, the unit of soldiers that they dress up like the Arabs, they talk like the Arabs, and they blend into the culture and society. And their mission is to wake up on as soon as the sleeper cells are alerted, right? They're Mista'arvim soldiers, right? Imagine a guy goes out there and he gets so comfortable in Gaza that he forgets that he's on assignment. And he says, well, I have enough pita for today, so I'm good. Hello, don't you work for the IDF? Don't forget, right? That's what we are. Our souls are sent down to this earth, and we get so busy with the schmutz, with the U.S. dollars and the national elections, that we forget that we're actually working for Hashem. And that's what King David is reminding us. Yes, what we saying?
So if we are exactly where we're supposed to be, why is it important to know what the mission is?
Why what?
Why is it important to know what the mission is if we're exactly where we're supposed to be? God is taking us on this journey to the mission. We don't have to know what it is. We'll get there eventually.
No, if you don't know what your mission is, how are you going to do it? If you don't know where you're going, it's like golf.
Because God's going to put me there.
No, but you're on the golf course. You're supposed to be right here at the tee, right? But if you don't know where the hole is, how do you know you're going to hit in the right direction? You can hit straight into the lake.
That's Jan's problem.
Not my driving.
Not the driving.
Oh, now it's really coming out. Now the real issues are coming out. Okay, so let me. We got to wrap up. I got to finish up, but let me just open up with just a few words of the Maimer, just as I introduced it. The Alter Rebbe, blessed memory, says in the Baal Shem Tov's name that every soul sent into this world by God has a mission. Right there, we've got something to reflect upon for a couple days. Says the Alter Rebbe in the name of the Baal Shem Tov that every soul sent into this world by God has a mission. You're not here by mistake. You weren't born into your family by mistake. You know that you choose your parents. Do you know that? Your soul chooses which parents it should be born to.
It doesn't say a good mission, it says a mission.
I didn't say it was a good mission. It's a mission, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's supposed to, it's for a greater good. But Velvel, can you imagine that you picked your parents? I want you to think about that for a moment. You chose which parents you want to be born to. I want you to think about that. Because your soul knew what its mission was before it descended to this earth, and it understood that its purpose would be better fulfilled with your two parents than with other parents. Because you're on a mission. The minute you can accept this, and it's not easy, the minute you can make peace with this profound wisdom, the first thing that happens is you notice the ebbing away of resentment and a profound sense of validation of all the struggles that you've been through. Because, like Joseph, you're not a victim.
Are you talking about Jewish people or everyone's own?
So, is it the Jewish people or everyone?
Because there's so many people that they do.
I think every human being has a mission. Every human being is sent to this world on a mission. Every human being has a soul. But Jewish people have a specific mission. Like I said on Shabbos, to be chosen people is not a privilege. It's a responsibility. Right? It's not a privilege. It's a responsibility. This mission must be accomplished, for God has decreed that it be the soul's labor whilst upon this earth. Now, there's so much to talk about this. You've heard from me about reincarnation, Gilgulei Neshamot, that souls come back to this earth. Why would souls come back to this earth after they leave this earth? To finish their mission. Mission unfinished. You got to come back until you're done, right? As opposed to other faith groups that believe in some sort of endless recycling of souls. The Torah tells us that the purpose of the returning of the soul is in order to finish your mission, right? And you've got to be cognizant. If you don't even know that you're on assignment, how on earth are you going to finish the assignment, right? We're going to learn in this discourse what that assignment is. So stay tuned. We're going to do this on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'm out of time. I got to run to a meeting. But folks, a pleasure studying with you. Just one thing I want to conclude with. One thing I want to conclude with this. Velvel Laser. It says elsewhere in Tehillim, what is this the verse? It says no, about the ships at the sea, about the certain souls. They certain souls are born on ships and certain souls are flailing in the waters. I forget the exact verse, but in Psalms of David, it sounds like he says, yeah, some of us are on ships and some of us are in the water. That's kind of what he says, right? Maybe you'll find it for me. So the Chassidus explains what that means is that some souls are born on solid ground, on a nice ship. And other souls are born flailing in the water. Because that's your mission. Don't compare yourself to someone else. If you're flailing in the water, then that's what you're supposed to deal with. And if you're on a massive. Oh, shkayach, this guy's great. Translates as those who go down to the sea in ships, who perform tasks in mighty waters. Some of us are just born nebach. You know, you got some $400 million trust fund that you're born into, you know, what are you going to do? You know, some of us have problems, right? And then you have those that are born with, you inherit some $1 million debt from someone, you know, born behind the 8 ball, you know? So you just accept the fact. It's not that life is unfair. I always tell my kids, it's not fair. I'm like, life is not fair. Life is not fair. You got to get rid of that premise. The fact that life needs to be fair is an incorrect premise that's going to set you up for a lot of sadness. Accept that life is not fair, life is precise. And if you can accept that, you'll live a much happier life. Tuesdays and Thursdays, guys, we carry on this Torah study. I hope you'll join us. Thank you so much.
There's an expression.
Dr. Phil,
There's an